Welcome to my step-by-step guide for painting a forest landscape scene in watercolours. I start by painting in the background sky. I want the sky to be darker towards the top, carefully getting lighter as I paint the horizon line. I'm using warm colours for this painting to give this scene a lazy afternoon feeling. I'm painting the general foreground area the same way, getting lighter towards the horizon, using the same colour so there is a relevant feeling of light and consistency. Next, I'm painting in the land under the sky with a fine brush using heavily watered down sienna. I want the background detail to look further away, so I use small strokes for the horizon, getting bigger towards the foreground. Next, I'm painting the background trees. Again, I'm using heavily watered down sienna and a fine brush to map in those distant details. Now that the background trunks and branches are complete, I can start to paint foreground trees. Here I'm focusing on darker tones. Light will generally be shining from the right, so I use darker tones on the left of the trunks. You can see how I paint the bark, careful not to overdo the layering of colour so the white of the paper shows the lighter details. The painting is beginning to take shape. You can see the lighter background trees contrast with the foreground trees, giving the work depth. I'm now adding darker tones of dirt around the foreground, careful not to darken the horizon ground too much. Start adding leaves with a fine brush. I chose red because it complements the light yellow and raw sienna nicely. Here I'm adding leaves to the background trees using watered down reds so they still look further away. To add more depth, I'm using burnt umber for the darker sides of the foreground trees, careful not to paint over too much of the lighter tones. Finally, I paint leaves on the ground near the foreground trees, adding depth and making the piece look more natural. I hope you enjoyed this basic forest landscape tutorial. I'm Michael John Mason, and thanks for watching.